This is Coogan Cassius for IFL TV in association with Macklin's Gym Marbella. We're at the Matchroom Gym here, a private location here in Essex.
You've got the boss's chair.
This is
Tony Sims will not be happy.
You told me to sit here.
I know, because he's going to come in a minute.
If he comes in, he comes in.
Oh,
There's got to be
yeah,
a war.
I'll tell you what, mate, you won't be saying that when he comes in.
How are you?
Very well, mate, how are you?
All
We were
right.
supposed to catch up last week, weren't we? But I've been a bit under the weather, really.
Yeah, I did come to your office just to check you didn't want to be
No.
What was wrong?
I've sort of had a sore throat and blocked up nose for about 6 weeks. And I never go to the doctors. And I thought, you know what, I feel terrible. Went to the doctors. I had a nasal infection, a throat infection, and an ear infection.
Do you think the pressures of your position in the sport of boxing is getting to you, Eddie?
No, I think that I've just been living badly. I think I've been overindulging during the Christmas period, having too much mulled wine, too many nights out, too much food, not enough sleep, and that's what's happened. So I'm back on it now, back in the gym, back on the antibiotics. So feeling good, and great to come down here today, especially to see the big man, Anthony Joshua. I haven't seen him smile so much in a long time. First real boxing session back today, all ready for April the 4th.
Newcastle, Geordie Raw. I didn't properly get a chance to speak to you after the O2 show. Got a quick 5 minutes with you. But looking back on that now, obviously impressive performance by Kevin Mitchell. What's happened since then regarding
So, you were seen from the WBC rankings, he's now #1 in the rankings. He's a mandatory challenger for Jorge Linares. Now we're pushing the WBC to make him mandatory immediately and to call that fight on. The rules are a little bit cloudy. When the two people contest a vacant title, really the winner should fight back-to-back mandatories. That's what the plan was. That's why they had two final eliminators. You know, Zlatican against Lundy as well. But Kevin had his one first, so he's the mandatory. We feel like he should fight Linares now. Away from that, we're also talking to Golden Boy about various bits and pieces as well, so he might fight him anyway. I think the WBC might order him to fight Mitchell next. You know, different rules, and obviously got the George Groves thing with Durrell. You know, he was granted another extension, so we've got to make sure we push as hard as we can on that. But a great performance. I believe he beats Linares, and I think a lot of people give him a great chance in that fight.
I spoke to Derry Matthews while I was out in Spain recently, and say upset, but he sort of made a comment about you kind of talking about bringing Abril back over here and sort of in some sort of way dismissing him. Or
I was talking about who Kevin Mitchell could fight, and I said he could even fight Richard Abril. The fact is, so I've worked with Derry before. I think he's a great bloke. I think he's a great fighter. Richard Abril is the big favourite in that fight. If you're asking me who I think is going to win the fight, the answer is Richard Abril. Has Derry got a chance in the fight? 100%. Do I hope he wins? 1,000,000%. But in my opinion, it's likely that Abril will win the fight. I'm not dismissing Derry's chances. I think he's got a great chance. But I know that obviously, if Abril wins, I can make the fight with Kevin Mitchell or Anthony Crolla like that. Whereas if Derry wins, I probably can't. So when I put him forward as a suggestion, of course, it's based on him beating Derry Matthews. Will that happen? We'll find out. I'd love to see Derry win it.
Derry Matthews has said on numerous occasions that if, or in his case, when he's victorious, that he would give a shot to Anthony Crolla. Now with obviously Derry...
Yeah, but there's one thing giving it, I mean, one is, with all due respect to Derry, is he doesn't necessarily decide. You know, his promoter will decide what happens and who gets the shot. Then you've got all the other problems. What's the split? What's the money? What's the other options for Anthony Crolla? Because we're currently talking to another world champion trying to make that fight. And Anthony Crolla has gone from someone that would probably sell 7,000 to someone who sells 17,000. So all of a sudden we're in a much better position. Love to do an all-British title fight with Derry, but I just know how difficult it would be to make that fight.
For the reasons of being in different
Yeah.
promotional stables. Okay.
But also for the reason of, if I can get his other world title shot, which would pay him better, and, you know, is another great chance for him to win a world title with us and on Sky, which is his preferred platform. Not to say I wouldn't let him box Derry Matthews on BoxNation. If the package was right, I would never hold him back from that opportunity. But I know where he wants to be and where he wants to get to, and winning a world title with Sky is what he wants to do. But, you know, I think let's see Derry fight Abril. I hope he wins. If he doesn't, maybe Crawler will fight him. Maybe Mitchell will fight him. If Derry wins, maybe he'll fight Crawler, maybe he'll fight Mitchell. Unlikely. Next. See you later, mate.
See you, mate. As a promoter, what is more important to you? Opportunity for your fighter, or whether they can win the fight or not?
It's kind of intertwined in one.
What I'm saying is, if an opportunity comes for one of your fighters, but you in your heart of heart thought they won't win that fight, what comes over?
There's so much to think about, and everything is on a case by case scenario. So sometimes you've got, let's look at some of the fight. Let's look at Lee Purdy against Devin Alexander, right? As a standout opportunity. So, for some mad reason, we know the Kell Brook fight with Devin Alexander is off, goes down the list, right? About 5 people pull out, and all of a sudden, Lee Purdy gets a phone call 4 weeks out. This is a guy who didn't have any amateur fights. He actually had some unlicensed fights. He fought for the English title. He won the British title. It was like an absolute dream come true. Now, I'm not going to go into purses, but he probably just about broke into 5 figures fighting for the British title, or challenging for the British title. Okay. All of a sudden, you get an opportunity for, can't remember the first now, a couple of $100 grand, right, to fight for the world title in Atlantic City. I'll make that phone call, and this is how the phone, Tony, phone manager, Tony, it's Eddie. You're not going to believe this. Just had a call from the IBF. They would want to know if Lee Purdy would fight Devin Alexander. Eh? Right, what's the money? This is the money. Okay? So, alright, I'll speak to Lee. Now, I know what the answer's going to be. It's up to me and Tony to make sure we sit down, we look at the money, we look at the opportunity, look at his weight. Luckily, he was training. He was a bit heavy, but he still had 4 weeks. It's not even, you can't, these guys, these fighters have got an obligation, and I've got an obligation to provide them with opportunities to provide for their family and their family and their family. So sometimes an opportunity arises like that, you cannot turn down. And I always say that, and it was a bit like, we'll take another opportunity, an example. Darren Barker against Sergio Martinez. Okay, Darren Barker's terrible history of injury. We don't know how long his career's going to go. He has a couple of good wins. He beat Sparta for the European title. Lou DiBella phones up. HBO phone up. Do you want to fight Sergio Martinez? At the time, Sergio Martinez was pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world. The money was 10 times what he made for the Sparta fight. Right? All of a sudden, you're in a situation, can you win the fight? Right? Can you honestly beat Sergio Martinez? Well, the fighter's view is always 100%. I can win this fight. Even Lee Purdy thought he could beat Devin Alexander. Right? Barker believes he can beat Martinez. Knows it's going to be tough. Tony Sims, obviously a little bit more logical because he's not as close, believes he can beat Martinez. Knows it's such a tough fight, but he sees this, he sees this. Me, I think, you know what? Maybe when Barker steps up to the next level, he's going to win this fight. But realistically, can he beat Martinez? Probably not. Can he turn down this opportunity on HBO? No. Can he turn down this type of money? No. But what is going to happen in the fight? I knew that Darren Barker would give Sergio Martinez a great fight. He did. He lost. That was probably the turning point in Darren Barker's career. Unfortunately, he picked up some more injuries, but still built the momentum. HBO remembered him. When the Gill fight come along, they wanted Darren Barker, HBO. We made the fight, he became world champion. And the experiences that he gained in the Martinez fight, is when he stepped in that ring with Gill, he drew from that night and those experiences, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. So everything is a case-by-case scenario. If there's a younger guy, now if it's Anthony Joshua, and Deontay Wilder comes on and offers $10 million to fight Anthony Joshua, probably not, because we've got another route and other opportunities already carved out. So it's different stages of the career. Do you understand what I'm saying? And everything is a case-by-case scenario. You know, you've got at the moment, you've got Billy Joe Saunders, who turned down a fight with Korobov, stepped aside for Andy Lee. He was the mandatory there for the winner. So then Billy Joe against Andy Lee, he stepped aside, now again. And now he's got Hassan Ndal. And I think he'll step aside. But there's reasons for it. Do you know what I mean? But everything is a case-by-case scenario. Probably got a few quid to step aside. Maybe he's got something else lined up. Eubank in the summer or outdoor. I mean, you know, but everything in boxing is a case-by-case. There's no blueprint for what's right and what's wrong. And all you can say is you sit down as a team. It's not, I get a call for an opportunity. Right, son, you're off. There's your plane ticket. There's your dough. It's, I sit down with the manager, the fighter. We look at the opportunities. We look at the money. We look at what happens if you win or lose. No, talking Ricky Burns. You know, we just saw him out there. What about his next fight? It's a tough fight in America. Really tough fight. You know, it's going to be live on NBC. It's a massive opportunity for him. Will he win? I think he's got an unbelievable chance to win. If he doesn't win, I know he will be in one hell of a fight. And it will do wonders for him in America. It will do wonders for him here. It's a, you know, it's a lot of money. It's just everything is case by case. I spent about 20 minutes talking about that. But I feel quite, you know, because sometimes, you know, you get stick, but why are you putting, everything is case by case. You know, people will give, like Billy Joe, go back, but people will slag Billy Joe off. If he doesn't take the Hassan Ndal fights, 3 world title fights he's walked away from. But you need to know the background, and I don't even know the background, so there's no point in me sitting here saying, I can't believe this kid's turned down 3 world title fights. We don't know. What's the packages? What's the other strategy? What, you know.
Well, we don't know Billy Joe Saunders is going to...
No, I'm just using it as an example. I hope he fights Hassan, but it's a good fight. But I don't think he will, because I think they've got something already mapped out for him.
We shall see. Can you explain the link with StubHub?
Yeah. That
you recently announced, and how it changes your sort of ticketing procedures?
So with StubHub, they have a primary and secondary source of purchasing tickets. The primary source is an allocation of face value tickets, very important, face value tickets that are sold via StubHub through their partners. Anthony Joshua is sponsored by StubHub. He sells his tickets on, for face value, on the primary selling system at StubHub. Okay? Purely because he could do that, or he could do it on his website. StubHub gets a lot more traffic than his website, so it's a logical place to sell his tickets. With us, we sell our tickets on the primary ticket sources stated matchroom promoter allocation at face value. Okay? It's just another ticket agency for us, really. It's another source to sell tickets. And actually the traffic and the numbers are so big that it's a good place for our tickets to be. On the other side of the site, there is Joe Public, you, who've bought your ticket and you go, 1, I can't go, or 2, don't fancy anymore, whatever, and you can sell your ticket to another individual. People think that we're going on there selling our tickets on the secondary site for inflated prices. It doesn't work like that. All we're doing is using StubHub, which has a huge amount of traffic, as a source to sell our face value tickets.
So, in layman's terms, if you've got, say, you've got a shot at the O2, right? Say it's banged out for 20,000.
Yeah.
Right? So, what allocation of that 20,000 would you say would be available through StubHub?
On the primary face value?
Yes.
Depending on your deal with a venue. So some venues will ask for 50% of the allocation to sell at the venue website. Some will ask for 60, 70%. That could be anywhere from 10 to 20 to 30%. Quite small. You've got your fighters allocation. You've got Matchroom's website selling tickets as well. So we sell all the VIPs on our website. We've got the event website. Sometimes we'll even use another ticket master or whoever, because you want to place your tickets on sites that are going to drive a huge amount of traffic. StubHub is one of them. But what I'm trying to get across to people, especially it's very difficult on Twitter, is our tickets are sold. It says very clearly, Matchroom allocate promoters slots, promoters tickets, face value, not £100 ticket here for 300 and we can nick 200 on the side. Not at all. StubHub have a very decent site and a good service, where a lot of major corporations are doing the same thing.
So if you're buying a ticket from StubHub, are you telling me that it's impossible for them to pay any more than what the ticket's worth on StubHub?
Who?
The buyer.
No, there's a secondary market.
Right.
But
your tickets.
But that's not StubHub and that's not Matchroom.
Right.
That's you. That's the public to public trade.
Right. Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So if there's a sold out show, there's millions of sites like it.
Yeah.
You know, Seat Wave and all that sort of stuff. If there's a show that's sold out, you're never going to stop. You know, this isn't a tout going to, you know, the box office and buying 3,000 and, you know, but the thing is you're never going to stop an individual getting a ticket for a sold out event and going, cool. You know, because it's so difficult to monitor it. People talk about photo ID. When you're bringing 60, 70,000 people for a gate, Wembley was a good example, you cannot physically stop everyone and ask for photo ID. So StubHub's policy is actually, I won't go into it now, but they're quite interesting. The way that barcodes are changing, it's actually done very neatly, the transaction between customer to customer, if you decide you want to sell your tickets. But for us, StubHub is a source to make sure that we can sell our face value tickets. I'm not interested. We've had a dozen companies approach us, especially for Wembley and shows like that, who say, give us the £500 tickets and we'll sell them, and for you know, over the top prices, and we'll give you half the profit. No, thank you. We don't need to do that. But we would like to have as many outlets as possible that sell our face value tickets.
So educate me here. What's the difference between a company like StubHub and Eventim?
Eventim is a ticket agency that will sell their tickets. The difference is, and I don't know enough about Eventim, but as I believe, they won't have a secondary market where the public can buy tickets for a sold out event.
Is that a negative thing though, that secondary market?
No, because they're everywhere. The way that StubHub police the secondary market is actually very, very efficient, and the way they do it is very impressive. And actually, I'll get you an interview with the guy and he can explain it to you. But for us, we give them an allocation of face value tickets, and they are sold on the site for face value, along with our name, just like Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua's tickets will say Anthony Joshua. Our tickets will say Matchroom. They're not over there on the site where public are buying sold out events. This is the primary site.
So you don't perceive there to be any negatives about?
Absolutely not. No. And you know, hopefully I've explained it well enough. And this is when we sat down and did the deal. And yeah, it was you know, it's a commercial deal for us. It's a good opportunity for us. I believe it will sell more tickets. But you know, if it was, put your tickets on and we'll sell them at inflated prices, and you can have our. We've had that approach, and it's something we're completely not interested in at all. But this way, buying face value tickets from our allocation, great. If you come to me and said, I'm starting a ticket company, and you know, we're going to be running it through the IFL website, directing after every clip, it's going to say buy your tickets now for the Matchroom event. It's like being an affiliate. So you could. So what would happen is you could say, I'm starting IFL. Just to give you an idea. Right, IFL tickets. So after this clip, I'm talking about a show on April 25th at the O2, and afterwards it says to get your exclusive tickets for April 25th at the O2. Click here. Boom. Goes through to your ticket site. You become an agent for me, and we will pay a commission to you on ticket sales, which is standard. The fighters that are fighting on my shows, I give them all 10% of everything they sell to try and push them to drive and sell as many tickets as possible. Just an incentive. And I'll do the same for you. From Coogan Cassius Tickets Init.com.
Watch this space.
No, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so, and StubHub are the same.
So, last question. That 20,000 we said imaginary at the O2. So, say 50% went to StubHub.
That wouldn't be.
What would it be less?
Yeah, much less.
Alright, say 30% went to StubHub.
Probably.
Where does the other 70% get allocated?
It goes to the. You'll have an agreement in the venue with the official ticket company for that venue. So O2 is AXS. Right, that's the ticket company. If it's at the Manchester Arena, it's Eventim. So they will take, depending upon your deal with the venue, normally between 50 and 60% of tickets. Then you've got the fighters. So James DeGale will come in to me and say, I want 2,000 tickets. I want 300 VIPs, I want this, I want that. And he gets 10% for every ticket he sells. So if he sells 100 grand of tickets, which James DeGale would do for a show like that, he gets 10 grand. Commission. Nice little job, isn't it? Send the boy out, doing all the, knocking the tickets out everywhere for you. This is how it works. Nothing's new. And I'll do the same for you.
Interesting.
Probably going to get loads of tweets now. Can I sell some tickets for you?
Interesting. What's that?
So this is Jawbone.
Right.
So I got this for Christmas, and basically it monitors your movement and sleep patterns. So let me show you. It's fascinating.
Just randomly caught that. Is that connected to your phone?
Yeah, it's got. Oh, bollocks, my phone's gone. But basically, it's an app. So it'll tell you how many calories you burnt in the day, how active you've been, and at night, you press it, and it will tell you if you've been in a deep sleep, a light sleep, how many times you were up. Very good.
Where can I get one of those?
In the shop. Online. They're like 80 quid.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, they're really.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Have you got something of relevance that you can tell me? I know that's a bit of a general question.
So what you're saying is you don't know what to ask me?
No, there are things.
Do you want me to let you know what's happening at the moment? Is that easy for you?
I think it's easy if I just say, you tell me what's going on.
Okay. So we're in negotiations with Andre Durrell to fight James DeGale. It's going okay. He doesn't want to come. James doesn't really want to go over there, but I think with the support we've got for that show, I think we can get him here. April 25th is the date. That's the date that all the offers are being made in relation to. I'll say now because it's Ricky Burns. We've agreed to fight Omar Figueroa in America. No, it's been leaked a little bit, but the only issue we've got is over the weight, because originally we made it at a catch weight of 138 pounds, and Figueroa would like it to be at 140 now. So we might settle on 139, but negotiations are ongoing. It's a great fight.
Tough fight.
Brilliant. Yeah, but it's another one of those, isn't it? It's live on NBC or whatever channel it's going on, and it's just such a wonderful fight. And so that's that.
Can I just back you up on the Durrell thing? Mm-hmm. So what would you say at the moment is the likely situation? DeGale going over there, or
I think Andre will come.
You think?
No, we've offered him a great deal, and I know he's been unhappy. Obviously, he felt he won the Carl Froch fight. It was a close fight, but of course we're going to have IBF neutral judges. There's going to be a lot of focus on the fact that he felt that he won last time. He's going to get a fair crack of the whip, and it's a vacant title.
If, for example, James does have to go over there, what happens to the 25th?
We'll still run.
And you've got a plan for that?
Yeah, I mean, look, we're very close to tying up Selby against Gradovic now as well. You've got Anthony Joshua will fight Kevin Johnson on the 25th at the O2. You've got Kevin Mitchell, we're pushing for the Linares fight as well. Or even another fight for Kevin Mitchell. So we've got loads of options, but we want to do a 2-3 header world title event at the O2 on April 25th with Joshua on as well.
Okay. You've always said about Kell Brook fighting in the summer all really depends upon this whole Mayweather Pacquiao thing and Hearn, etc., etc. But we're not really further afield with that, are we? Because nothing's really happening.
No, I don't know. I mean, look, people like journalists will phone me up and say, could you give us the lowdown on Mayweather Pacquiao? I'm like, I do not have a clue. I mean, I know that there's issues to overcome, obviously, probably from the personal fighter contracts and obviously the networks. You've got to think that the longer it goes on, the less likely it is to happen. Definitely for May the 2nd. But Kell's not really. I mean, one thing is for sure, Amir Khan is not fighting Kell Brook this summer. So he's out of the window in terms of our plans. So our plans are quite straightforward. We want a huge outdoor fight for Kell Brook in June or July. And we know who we want. We want Juan Manuel Marquez. He's the number one target. Talks are ongoing with his guys after coming over last week. We like the likes of, love the Marcus Maidana fight. These are the guys who we want to bring over, and we can do it. So
talk about Bramall Lane possibly.
Yeah, Bramall Lane. That's I want to do 2 or 3 outdoor events this summer, and Marquez would be a dream at Bramall Lane. Be a great fight, but we've got Jojo down on the March 28th, and he's got to beat him in style to really build a fight like that.
How reluctant was Carl Froch to vacate the belt? I know I wasn't there at the press conference. I know Declan interviewed you, but how reluctant was he?
I think reluctant probably because he's always sort of said, don't like vacating belts. But things change in your life, things become less important, more important. And belts to Carl Froch have definitely become less important over the last 3 or 4 fights. He knows James DeGale is a brilliant fighter, but he just couldn't get himself up for the James DeGale fight. When James DeGale beats Andre Durrell, Carl Froch might get himself up for the James DeGale fight. Don't be surprised. But he wasn't, and I think because it was also providing another team member with a shot, it was less painful. Like if it was George Groves that he was basically giving a shot to the world title, so I don't think he would have done it. But because it was James, and he likes James, and he thinks he's a great fighter, and he's with us, I think, I think he was happy to do so. He doesn't want to. He knows what it was like to be like that once, waiting for a shot. And if you're not going to fight him, there's no point holding on. He had an opportunity to ask for a medical exemption, and I had to explain all the options to him. But I said, "What's the point if you're not going to fight James DeGale? There's no point. Let him fight. Let him fight Durrell."
There was some banter between you and George Groves recently on
the Saint
Twitter. It was a bit harsh in some of your things, weren't you?
What, by him saying, "Oh, is Daddy going to make me an offer?" He piped up and I ruined him. I mean, I like George. A lot of it is banter and a lot of it is bravado. I just get frustrated, Coop. Like, I just don't understand. I like common sense to rule. So you can fight. Everybody knew, apart from George, that Anthony Durrell was going to have a voluntary in April. Right? So he's not going to get the fight. This is a guy, he last boxed in August, Anthony Durrell. So now he's boxing in April. He ain't going to box again till October, November. Okay? So George Groves is going to fight Anthony Durrell in October, November of this year. Now, if Anthony Durrell loses, by the way, the new champion might be allowed a voluntary as well, but that's another. George, I think, reported he got offered $150,000 to fight Anthony Durrell at some stage of negotiations, which he quite rightly turned down. So now you're in a position where you can wait till October, November to possibly fight Anthony Durrell for small money in America, or fight James DeGale at the O2 on April the 25th for the vacant world title for probably close to 20 times what you'd get for the Anthony Durrell fight. That's what frustrates the life out of me. And for some reason, he believes that he should get 65-35, he should get this, he should get that. The IBF rule for a vacant title is 50-50. I know that's a purse-bid scenario. James DeGale's number 1, George Groves is number 4. It's not. It infuriates the life out of me that people want to make their own decisions without actually taking the right advice and understanding the common sense logic of the two opportunities. And don't give me, oh, it's bigger when we're both world champions. What if James don't beat Andre Durrell? What if you don't beat Anthony Durrell? What if one wins, one doesn't? You ain't going to do a deal. If you both win, you probably ain't going to do a deal because you think you should be on 70% because you went to America. I mean, it's like, now's the chance. Now is the chance. And these fights don't get made, and it gives me the raving ump.
Explain to me something. James DeGale, number 1. Number 2 is Durrell.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3 is Ramirez.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4 is George Groves.
Mm-hmm.
If George Groves turned around and said, all right, make the fight then, how do you dispose of Durrell and Ramirez?
You don't dispose of them. So you go to Andre Durrell and you say, listen, you're not mad on coming to the UK. Is April a little bit too early? Why don't you come on our show, box a 10-rounder for a nice few quid, right? And you get the winner. It's only like what Billy Joe's done, or was meant to. Ramirez don't want to fight. He ain't ready for the fight. They've publicly stated, they've told me that, so he's not even in the runnings. So all it was is whether or not Durrell would accept a small step aside to box in June and a spot on the bill to tune up. And I believe that was possible. And, you know, but there's no point having that discussion because George just kiboshed the idea completely.
Right.
Now you say to me, come on, make these big... I mean, with the Amir Khan thing, it's tough for me to get my head around that as well, but I do understand the fact that Amir has built himself into a position where he can fight Mayweather, Pacquiao, etc. And he's got to chase them fights. For George, it's wait 9-10 months for small money or boxing 3 or 4 months for 20 times the money. If you believe you're going to win the fight, how can you not fight him and become world champion? This is the same guy who said, I will always take the quickest, easiest route for the world title. There it is, son. And by the way, there's a potload of money in it for you and all.
What's been the reason from Groves'
Because he wants a 65-35 or... I mean, anyway, that's done. You know, whether he turns around tomorrow and says, I've made a mistake, can I? The answer's no. Now you've got to wait. Listen, George Groves is great. He's got a big personality. You know, he likes to do his own thing, and that's sometimes frustrating because sometimes you feel he's doing things wrong. But I like the kid. He was fantastic to work with. He helped us build a huge event. But now he's made a terrible, terrible decision. And the decision was made before the WBC ruling, which everyone knew was going to happen anyway. And now it makes the decision even worse. But frustration over. We'll move on. Listen, I mean, I hope he goes and wins a world title. But my responsibility and focus is James DeGale. And on April 25th, I believe James DeGale will make history, becoming the first British Olympian to win a world title.
Certainly hope so. For the summer, how many shows will you have June and July?
I think we'll look to do, if we do Froch in Vegas or Froch at the City Ground, Brook, Campbell against Coyle. I think there's 3 realistic summer events for you.
What about Wembley?
No, it's got to be, Wembley, it's not just let's just go back to Wembley. It's got to be the right event. You know, I mean, George says, let's do Wembley for me against the guy. It's not a Wembley fight yet, you know. And it's in April. It's got to be done. So, and sometimes people don't realise you can gross and net a lot of money at the O2 Arena for fairly limited costs and expenses versus the risk of an outdoor event with huge costs and expenses and a gate you don't know whether it's going to be 20 or 40 or 60. You know, we took a calculated risk on Froch Grove 2 and it paid off.
Prize fighter, Brian Rose, this weekend.
Valentine's Day.
Blackpool.
No love lost.
Helder said you missed the trick with Brian Rose being called Rose and Valentine's night in the title.
Yeah, cheers for Helder for that.
That's what he said.
Don't give up your day job.
That's what he said.
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, in terms of the prize fighter, I've not got a clue. I think you've got to look at Keeler and you've got to look at Armfield. I think it's Craig Cunningham, I think he's 12-0.
John Peg's
Yeah, from Birmingham. I think a lot of people are talking about him. I love the Brian Rose Carson Jones fight. Styles make fights, and that should be a great fight. I think Carson Jones has got a great style for Brian Rose, and I think Brian Rose has got a great style for Carson Jones. So we'll see what Carson Jones has got left in the tank and how much commitment he's got, and if he has, it's going to be a very tough night for Brian Rose.
Just finally, we're off to Berlin next week, where Paul Smith gets his rematch, his much wanted rematch and deserved rematch as well. Has to go back to Germany. I heard Joe Gallagher talk on TV quite a bit about. He said someone's getting knocked out in the fight. So, but do you feel that Paul Smith, judging by what he'd give in that first fight, didn't get any sort of credit score-wise?
Score-wise, particularly from one judge, I think he got the credit from the fans.
Yeah, but I'm talking about from the judges. He didn't get
and I
credit
think
for the fight.
it will be a different kind of fight because I think Abraham will be looking to make a statement, and I think Paul will be looking to press the fight a little bit more. I was up in Bolton yesterday with Crawler and the lads and watching Paul Smith spar Eubank Jr. You know, he's ready to go, and this is his chance. Last time it was, this is your chance, mate. He's got another chance, and he deserves another chance, by the way. He's earned another shot. He's having back to back. Ricky Burns, look at them pads. Figueroa's banging trouble, and he deserves it. Back to back world title shots. He can win the fight. He can definitely win the fight.
Interesting. If he becomes world champion next week, which obviously we hope he does, people are talking about De Gale, Froch.
Well, all of a sudden, Paul Smith against
Groves.
Paul Smith against Carl Froch becomes a massive fight. Paul Smith against the winner of Durrell against De Gale comes.
He's obviously
Paul
full
Smith
Groves
against
and
Groves.
De Gale as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's life changing for him. But I'm pleased to have carved out one world title fight for Paul. Now he's got two, and he can really win this fight. He can. It's a tough ask, but really, if you were scoring that fight from a complete neutral's perspective, you could have had it one round either way or a draw. So don't tell me he can't win the fight. He more or less won the fight or nearly won it last time.
What other your boys are on that bill?
Josh Warrington and David Price.
Good. All right then. Unless you want to add something.
No. No, all good, mate.
All good.
See you in Blackpool.
See you in Blackpool. What are you doing on Friday then?
I'm coming back Friday.
What do you mean?
Oh, Friday we got the weigh-in. I'm doing a weigh-in and a press conference on the same day. Revolutionary.
It's not really revolutionary.
Isn't it? Others do it,
There's Nick Hennessy's already done that
Oh,
one.
damn. Oh well, we'll do it anyway.
Hold on, what are you doing? You're going out Friday and coming back Friday?
Yeah.
Why?
I'm taking the missus out for dinner. I'm not about on Valentine's night, am I? So it's not really a done thing to go up and...
So I'm doing the opposite.
So I'm coming back, putting the graft in, nice bit of grub with the missus, and then Saturday morning back up to Blackpool.
Oh.
Cool, mate. Listen, I'm nowhere near as loved up as you are at the moment. Are you still, everything's still rosy?
Yeah.
Marriage?
Who knows?
Wow, you heard it here. That when anyone ever says that, they are so loved up. It's unbelievable. Coogan Cassius is getting married. You heard it here first. Well done, mate. Great. Have you set a date?
This has been Coogan Cassius for NFL TV with Eddie
set a
Hearn.
date?
Thank you very much.
Have you set a date?
It's your business.
That's good.